Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how I'm adding a fringe to each end of the one wrap. For this you're going to need a crochet hook. I'm using a 2.5 millimeter, something around about that size should work great. Some wool. I'm using what is my background colour from the wrap, but you could use any colour that you like. You'll need something to wrap your wool around as a way of measuring it before you cut the fringe, and you'll need some scissors. So the first thing to do is to find something that is roughly the length that you want your fringe to be, or slightly longer, because you can always trim it a little bit. So I'm using my diary. So you start off by positioning the end of the yarn at the point where you're going to cut it, and then just wrapping your yarn around until you've built up quite a lot of wraps. Okay, so the amount of yarn that I've wrapped here is probably going to be enough to do maybe around about a third of the length of the one, but you can always cut more later if you need to. So then with your scissors, you're going to cut along the ends of your yarn, and that gives you lots of yarn that's all the same length, ready to turn into your fringe. Okay, so I'll show you how I'm attaching the fringe. Now there's different ways that you can add the fringe in terms of spacing and the number of strands that you use. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing in this example. So I'm going to work with 2 strands of yarn at a time. So each of the fringes that I add, I'm working with 2 strands, and once that's folded over, it creates 4 strands hanging down together. The way that I've spaced it out, I've worked 1 fringe into the middle of the I-cord edge, 1 after the I-cord edge, and then after that I've left 2 stitches between each fringe that I've added. You can hopefully see quite well there. So I'm adding the fringe in between the stitches, so I've got a fringe in between the stitches, and then 1, 2 stitches, next bit of fringe added. You could add fringe more frequently or less frequently to achieve whatever exact style you would like. Okay, so the other thing to bear in mind is how you're attaching your fringe so that it looks the same every time. So here I'm putting the crochet hook from the back to the front to pick up my fringe, so from the wrong side through to the right side, and you'll end up with fringe that looks like this with the lark knot showing on the front. If you do it the other way around, you'll end up with something that looks quite different, still really nice, but you just need to make sure that you're doing the same thing every time so that you don't end up with some that look like this and some that look like that. So always inserting my crochet hook from the back to the front, and get my 2 strands, pop them roughly at the middle on my hook, and pull it through to the other side, to the wrong side. Pull it through quite far to make a nice big loop. I can get my fingers through and pull the ends of the yarn through that loop that's been created. Then pull it tight. And you keep doing that all the way along both edges to create your fringe. Once it's complete, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. I've never added fringe to a design before, but this wrap, for whatever reason, for me was just crying out to have a fringe, and I do really love it.